Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the Council on Future Conflict. My name is Scott. I'm the proprietor of the Future Conflict channel. Today, it's just me and Joe, no watcher. So if everything is a little less professional, that's because Watcher wasn't here or if it's better, it's because Watcher wasn't here. So I have no idea
It
which
could
way
go
this is
either
going to
way.
go.
Could go
That's
either
right.
way.
It could go either way. The one person who will not be able to take any blame will be Joe Dolio, of course. Joe, how are you doing, brother?
I am well and good. I don't know why I won't take any blame. I do plenty to make the show not so cool. But here we are. Had a good weekend this weekend. It was quiet around here. The last weekend of deer season, and there was some activity related to that around here.
See,
Uh,
now I've got my thumbnail
see,
displayed here.
we're running a little bit behind, but that's okay. We're
Hey,
looking
it's 100% better than it was.
10 minutes
Anyway,
ago.
sorry. Yeah.
2 minutes ago. Uh, but I'll point out that Alpha Charlie Concepts in the chat sent me a photo of his house and his Christmas decorations. The only thing you are missing there in Jacksonville, Florida, is snow. So, other than that, the photo looked good. On that note, we have plenty of snow here. We got about
Yeah.
6 inches on the ground. So I spent most of my day Friday after the show out running a snowblower, which is fun. But that's okay.
Do you just snow blow the paths that you guys walk on, or
sidewalk?
so like yeah.
The
What
sidewalk
about
up to the dining hall and over to the other building. Yeah.
do you do any on the road, or you just
Right now, we've just left the road alone because it's under 6 inches. After 6 inches, we get our snowblower out that attaches to the tractor. And if you've never seen a tractor-sized snowblower, you need to, because it's the coolest thing ever. He just drives around and makes short work of the snow. It's way better than plowing. It goes much faster. So.
Yeah, that's well, if our friendly neighborhood Nephilim ever gets his hobby farm going enough, maybe he can afford himself a snowblower, a tractor attached snowblower.
There you go. There you go.
Something for him to aspire to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Watcher's having some electrical problems, so it's a little on the chilly side where he's at because of electrical heating, of course. So he wasn't going to be able to make it today. Hopefully he's sitting there watching us on his little, iPhone or whatever. So I kind of doubt Watcher has an iPhone. I figured him for definitely an Android man.
He's more of an Android kind of guy.
Yeah, that's true. Less, 80% less gay. I mean, not to say that any of you in the chat are gay if you have a iPhone. I mean, you could be a woman, and that's actually probably the correct phone for a woman is an iPhone, and the correct one for a man is an Android. I'm just saying it's not definitive, but that's what I'm saying is my take on that. So Joe, you got some gun show action coming up this weekend, no?
Yeah, if anyone's in the Mountain West here, I'll be at the Kalispell Arms Show Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Slinging books and maybe even selling a little bit of gear. We'll have some info out about Camp Ponderosa and about the food pantry. Apparently, I didn't realize that, but they've decided they're going to join me. So it's going to be a good time. Come see me.
Well, that's good. No, that's good. It's like, hey, we make money, but we also do charity.
Yeah. Well, I just didn't know if they were going to then pay me back for the money I invested in this.
Right.
It's good of them to put themselves along with me on something I paid for.
Or that could just be a business, like the charitable deduction. You pay it as a business expense, and then you also get it as a charitable deduction. So
yeah, I should probably just do that. That's probably the way to go.
Yeah, I had to write a big check this morning. We're paying for, so as you know, Watcher is shipping out all the Doorkickers books, many of which have started showing up in people's hands. So one of the things, of course, that goes along with shipping things out is paying for the exorbitant shipping costs of using the U.S. Postal Service. Your Watcher's been handling of that, all that for me, and basically throwing it on his credit card. And so I had to pay that bill this morning. I was just like, oh, it's tough, Joe. It's tough to.
It's tough. It's hard to be you.
Well, it's hard to be the guy who has to pay the bills.
Yeah, right.
But yeah. So anyway, that was tough, but it's good. I'm glad to see that the books are getting out there for people and everything, and so that's exciting. One down, one more to go. Land and Sea shipping any day now, and yeah, looking forward to all of that. All right. Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else happened over the weekend, or anything that the chat might be interested in from this weekend, or do you think we just jump right into the first one?
I say we jump right in. I can't think of anything
worth talking about in public, at least, right? I mean,
Right.
Hey, by the way, speaking of, so I got something that's not. I wouldn't say it's of any note, but it's so you know how like you probably do this too. Like as somebody who likes to write, like you'll come up with story ideas all the time, or ideas for books, or whatnots, right? So I had a story idea. And I said, I need an out of the way place for somebody to buy, kind of like only. He's like, you remember the disembodied voice of what is Sterling or whatever? What was the guy's name from Magnum PI? What was
Higgins? No,
Higgins,
the
but
other guy.
Yeah. But I think it was always Higgins, right? He was. It turned out that Higgins was the one who owned everything anyway. He just wanted to seem like he was just the caretaker. Anyway, the point is that they always got instructions from like a Charlie kind of guy on a phone or something like that, right? Or anyway, point is I need a guy who's in the middle of nowhere. And guess where I just pulled out of my hat? I was like, if I'm gonna be somebody in the middle of nowhere, it's got to be like Kalispell, Montana. I was like, that's the middle of nowhere. That's like, talk about like up a part of out of the way. It doesn't get more out of the way than like the north half of Montana, I think.
You don't. Or the northwest corner.
Yeah, specifically.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was just thinking. I was just thinking about that and you guys and northern Montana when I was kind of thinking that through, and I was like, yeah, that's a perfect spot for him. But it's all kinds of other stories out there that waiting to be told. And, it's one of the things I'm really looking forward to getting back to the States is actually like being able to put time and energy into writing again.
Yeah.
Good time. I mean, I could do that now, but it's a little difficult. All right. By the way, Low Key LARP gifted 5 subs to Future Conflict. Thank you very much. That's awesome. Definitely feeding his autism there, so that the chat stays the proper color. All right. Let me get this and share it. Joe, I thought of you when I saw this. Because we always talk about like women problems. Like you and I never have women problems, and women don't cause problems. At least not in my life, Joe. I don't know about yours. Never caused any problem in my life, but evidently there is this idea out there in the world that women cause troubles. And no hate on women, because clearly I love them. I live with 3 of them. But this article over here, let me share it. There we go. The whole model was broken. The tech mafia wife admits that we were Klaus Schwab's useful idiot. So basically, the whole premise of the story, Joe, is the idea that all of these wives of these tech bros, right? Like these tech billionaires and millionaires and whatnot. They all had like a whole lot of free time and a whole lot of money on their hands, and so they started dealing with charities and they're bleeding hearts, Joe. They want to help people. So let's give it to them there, right? They want to help people. Do they want to help people out of Christian charity? No, they want to help people out of white guilt, and because they're pressured to, and because you're a good person if you care about other people, right? This is all the worst reasons. Because ultimately it's about me, right? It's not about the person you're trying to help. It's about like me assuaging my guilt.
How could I look doing it, right?
Exactly right. So let me just kind of introduce this, and we're gonna try something a little different where we're kind of bouncing out of the article a lot more. It says here Nicole Shanahan. So I don't know if you know who she is, Joe. She's the former wife or the ex-wife of Google co-founder Sergey Brin. And she also was RFK Jr.'s running mate before RFK Jr. dropped out of the race and kind of jumped on the Trump train.
I didn't know he ever had a running mate, so that's new to me.
Yeah. Back when it was like he was basically a single issue candidate, and I think he was running under a different party or something like that. And he basically, had a whole, basically it was all on the MAGA health, Maha, kind of agenda was what he was running on.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this Nicole Shanahan, she's went full whistleblower on the entire Silicon Valley tech wife mafia and how they were used. She says the whole model is broken. The whole model makes everybody worse off. Let me just get a couple more highlights here. In practice, it shifted power away from the voters to the NGOs, the corporate elites, and unelected technocrats. And what she's talking about is how all these women really kind of push the issues of the Great Reset, the whole Build Back Better, climate action, ESG, inclusions, all that kind of stuff, right, Joe? And so, I mean, this is really kind of an interesting, problem that all this wealth let's be honest, it's unearned wealth, right? Their men earned the wealth. They were just along for the ride.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like, hey, I thought I had a cracker or Ritz. I just got regular saltines. They lied to me, right?
Right.
Buyer's remorse. What's funny is it's all actually against their own self-interest too, right?
Right.
It's saying, hey, let's get rid of capitalism and bring in socialism. Well, then you're going to lose everything that you have. Kind of.
Well, she says it here, the WEF, right, is who sold all this stuff, right? And it was the World Economic Forum that basically sucked these women in, made them feel important, used their money, used their access, used all of the things that they brought along without any of the responsibility, right? She says here, I don't think many of the tech mafia wives realized they were used to set the groundwork for what Klaus Schwab calls the Great Reset. Let's see, the really small group of people completely blind to how their groundwork was being used to enable these Great Reset policies. She said that these women couldn't find their meaning through philanthropic work. I really believe I was helping the Black communities and indigenous communities rise up. So this is what the Shanahan lady, she was actually part of this, right? And that's how she felt. It was like, hey, I think that, I'm told that helping these people is a good thing. But in point of fact, it is not a good thing. These are not stupid people, right? These are women a lot of times that went to these Ivy League schools, right? And once upon a time, Joe, you had to be somebody, who could rub a couple brain cells together to get into the Ivy League. It's a little different now, but when you look back in the 90s when the tech bros and all that kind of stuff were kind of percolating in in a lot of these Ivy League schools and whatnot. So it was a different story back then. So, like a lot of these women have doctorates, right? And so the one of the things that I posted on a separate Twitter post that was on this topic was that this is all about elite capture, right? Yeah. The whole idea of like, I have a doctorate, or I went to Harvard, or I'm rich, I'm successful, whatever it is, right? These are all the things that make somebody think that they're elite, whether they are or not, right? Is beside the point. They think they're elite, and these people who are elite then get captured by this essentially globalized socialist movement that seeks to infiltrate every kind of power sector. And you see it a lot of times with all these USAID organizations and whatnot.
Well, and there's a reason why, like, women's groups exist, right? Women get very passionate about things that they replace their children with, whatever the topic is. And I see that Lance Corporal Veteran says much the same thing in his $5 thing. They dive in and become a ferocious pack, but they don't necessarily dive as deep into the research as they should ahead of time, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, ladies, I'm not trying to pick on you, but I'm just talking about this type of woman specifically, who's very shallow in her own being. That's why she's a tech bro's wife. So
yeah. No, I think you're right on the money there, Joe. It's like, for whatever reason, they're not getting it out, the meaning from their life that they think they should, whether it's through children or through money or whatever. And they get to this level, and then they realize, well, I need something more, right? And so this is that power dynamic, right? A lot of times, I think with these women who, especially the ones who never earned the money, that just kind of were along for the ride with their billionaire husband, I feel like this is their opportunity to feel like I can buy into something that I'm part of, that is mine, right? It's something that I can do on my own. Lance Corporal Veteran for $5 says, when women remove purpose for their instincts, they replace it with ideological topics with the same ferocity that feminine instincts were meant for. Yeah, 100%, right? And then the other part of it too is that women do it in a different way than men. Like men don't do things. Men don't try to socially engineer people for the most part. I mean, you do have some aggressive kind of manipulation by some men, but that's generally not what you see from most men, right? From real powerful men who generate their own power, they do it on their own, right? It's like they convince people honestly, and they're proud of that.
Yes.
Squishy Hunter for $1 says, a patient came into the ER last night complaining about abdominal pain. Showed he had about 5 plastic horses shoved into his rectum. Last I heard, he was in stable condition. Well, thanks for just making my day that much brighter.
I want to point something out. In the last 5 years, more people have died from intentionally placing objects in their anal cavity than have died from AR-15s. It's a fact.
Yeah, I know. That's not even the first time I've heard that, but it's like I have to be reminded that statistic exists out in the world.
Wow.
Peter Chase Helicopter Tour for $1 says, the CIA used to control the altruistic elites. Looking at you, Howard Hughes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hunch the Dirty Roofer, and yet the axiom is proven again: white women ruin everything. God, let me just be honest. People talk about being racists and stuff. The worst people in the world are literally white women.
Yes, 100%.
I hate. Not all white women are the worst people, but I'm just saying the worst people of all the people in the world. The handful of the worst of them are probably, 80% white women, and then the rest are Muslims.
The rest are, ironically, also white women.
Muslim white women. Yeah, nothing worse than a rich, self-important Muslim white woman. All right, I think that's enough on that topic. Anything else that you think we could talk about with that one, Joe?
No, it's actually way more than I intended for us to talk about it in the first place. So,
In the first place, well, I mean, in fairness, that was one of my topics. There are, if just to kind of pull the curtain back on the show and how we do it, a lot of times, we'll kind of agree on a general topic just in the chat, and then I'll put stuff together, or Joe will drop a link or two, and then I'll expand on that. Sometimes it just becomes odds and ends, and other times it becomes a full-on topic. But this is definitely one that I picked. I love the opportunity that I can talk about liberal white women again, as Janine Rogers says. Liberal white women.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, let me correct
Well,
Scott here. For the benefit of the fine young ladies in the chat, liberal white women, yes.
Woke white women, yes. Yes, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm not very good at sensitivity, but hey. Affluent. Hold a second, squishy under. Affluent white female liberals. No. Poor ones too are insufferable. Just the liberal and the white female part. All right. Trump rejects Maduro request for amnesty and newly disclosed football. Did you follow any of the kind of ongoing Venezuela saga this weekend?
I am, including the non-public stuff that we were getting fed out of our friend south of the equator. So
yeah.
We may have a surprise for everyone if I could confirm it in any way, but I wouldn't be surprised if y'all find out that Maduro's not in Venezuela anymore.
Yeah, he's like, I'm popping smoke, y'all.
We finna fight, but I'm just not gonna be there when this all goes down.
Joe, did you see the? Oh my God, I got to share that one. Hold on, before we even get into this topic here. Our friend also shared this, but he's not the source of it. But God damn it, it's funny. Let me find it here. Here we go. Sorry. Oh, come on. Where is it? I'm looking for the karate guy.
Oh, Maduro's brother?
I can't remember. I couldn't remember if that was who he was or.
Yeah, it's Maduro's brother.
Oh my gosh.
It's on my page. If you want to find it.
Yeah. I'm looking on yours now. That was so funny. I mean, this is definitely what you guys need to defend against the Marines. For show. If you can find it faster than me.
Well, let me answer this person.
Oh, the Sibley's book 3 is. Oh no, this is. Oh, this is from. Oh, I didn't.
Hold on.
The first spinoff book in Sibley's World is out.
Here it is.
Apologies to the chat as we look for something, just something to laugh out.
It's in the studio chat.
All right. Oh yes. I mean, it's like they formed the Avengers, and they have. I mean, this guy is intimidating, Joe.
I know. I'll point out that when I teach this exact form to 6-year-olds, they perform it better than he does. But yeah.
Well, they don't have degenerative arthritis in their. All right, here we go. Be ready to be awed, chat.
Jean-Claude Van Damme en Ganar o Morir.
with the audio.
Look at that stance.
Anytime there's a laugh track with something that's supposed to be serious. Oh boy, I don't want to stop. Oh, that looks effective.
Hey, be prepared if you're watching. That's exactly what it is. Pianon Shodan, and he missed several moves at the beginning. I didn't watch it all the way through the night dance at the end.
Well,
So
isn't
like
that
orange belt
Kimpo?
So
this is like Kimpo, though, right? It's not even.
No, it's Tung Sudo right here.
Is it Tung Sudo?
Yeah. Or yes, some of the guys who do that form is used in a bunch of different martial arts, but
yeah,
Pinan Shodan is what the karate types call it rather than Tung Sudo.
Yeah,
but yeah, Squishy Hunter has it. Pinan Shodan. Yeah, it's pretty lame. His execution is absolutely horrible, but get on it, my man. It's Timu Segal.
Russian slap karate. Oh my God, Joe, have you seen that? The Russian slap karate?
Yeah. Sistema is a joke. It's absolutely ludicrous.
No, not even Sistema. This is. Oh, you
mean with the slap competitions?
No, Joe. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm going to derail the show for this because it's funny enough to where I don't know if you're going to be able to stay in your seat when you see this. Russian. Let's see. Slap. Fighting fake. Oh, is this it? I think this is it. All right. I've found it. I just need to find a good video of it, Joe. It's oh my God, I think this is it. This might be the one. Oh yeah, here we go. You're not gonna believe this, Joe. Let's see if I can do this. Here we go. I'm sorry. I apologize. It's being me is fun because I can just hold up the show and do this. Here we go.
Right here. And here's Choryak, our master teaching his students. He actually has students. What is that?
What is going on right now?
Are those his sons?
Is this
Maybe?
like
I think those are his sons. Those are not his
karate?
students.
Method karate.
That's a pretty sick dragon pattern on his shirt, though. The sheer. What happened to the footage? Go back to HD. Oh, he's showing you how to apply it. Very interesting. So it is like pop and locking. It's kind of grappling. Interesting. And now it's stuck. Oh no, is the Russian KGB about to get me?
Anyway.
Russian KGB about to come get me. I'm sorry. He's funny, okay?
Anyway.
But have you watched any of the videos of Sistema with what's his name? They're just like
a while back I did.
Like he just pushes them and the guys go flying and you're like, bro, come on. And everything is in slow motion and it's dumb.
All right, I literally found the video that I was originally looking for, and oh my God, I'm sorry, Joe. Watch this. I'm sorry, I'm gonna make you do it again. This is survival techniques, Joe. This is survival and preparation skills. You may want to put this in the next tactical wisdom.
Okay.
Let's see. Add the stage. Here we go.
What exactly is he doing?
Stop! Dove?
Zero application of power. Yeah. That guy's shirt was a Sistema shirt, by the way. That bat symbol.
Voda.
Oh, broke it. He kicked it so hard, he broke it.
I saw he broke it. Yeah. I wonder how many times they break their hand when they accidentally hit the corners of that.
That was about to hit him right in the face.
Right, exactly. I'm sorry, Joe.
Wow.
I just can't do it anymore. I just wanted you to see this.
Listen, somebody just said Detroit Tactical. Do not show this to my boy at Detroit Urban Survival Training. Dust. He will he'll start doing that.
Detroit Urban Survival Training.
Don't.
Ooh. I've never, oh, this guy. Oh my God, this guy is the worst.
He is.
He is the worst.
Worse, I actually know him too. So.
Oh, he does all the karate sounds too.
Oh yeah, he does lots of fun stuff.
All of it's silly. Can I show this and then like Joe, you know him, so
you have to give a disclaimer first. If you attempt any move taught by Detroit Urban Survival Training, you will meet God and do so rather quickly. All right, there we go.
All right, here we go.
Even makes those ridiculous faces.
Yeah, I know, right? Let's see. Let's go back to the search.
He looks like Master Ken, like the Black Master Ken.
Let's see.
But he thinks he's doing it.
Detroit
seriously.
Urban Survival Training. I'm going to share with you right now what to do if a striker-fired weapon is pinning against your chest, against the wall, and a criminal is holding you at bay. And the reason why they're doing this is because this is how they search you.
Things that have only happened in talk about training for an edge case.
Right.
Weapons, how they're going to take things from you, also how they're going to harm you physically and keep you from running or pulling out a weapon is by getting close and pinning you to a wall or to a car. In this case, it's striker fire, so there's no hammer in the back. So the first thing we're going to do, since we can't move out of the way, we can't move offline, and if I were to try to move this, as soon as he saw my hand move, he's going to fire. So we have to make this weapon not fire. And to give an example, the human reaction time, when he sees me move, he's going to fire. So the reason why it didn't move, the slide didn't slide, is because I inhibited it by pushing it to the rear. From there, what we do is push the barrel back towards the aggressor, and now you have the weapon, and if you don't want to shoot, then you just pin them down to the ground using their finger and taking them under control.
Wow, it's that easy, Joe. I didn't realize.
It is that easy. Hey, I can tell you for a fact that's a HK P30 SK.
Don't tell me you sold it to him.
No.
The Brandon Herrera, Detroit Urban Survival Tactics could get you killed. Oh, I love the self-defense guy memes. You know, if you know, it's like you go to do something and all of a sudden you're in heaven.
Yeah. Yeah, those are always the best. Man, I knew that wasn't going to work. Yeah, CWSB, I am old enough to remember when Joe said he'd never approve of Dust being on the show. And there it was on the show.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, we were using it ironically and making fun of it. So
yeah,
it's okay to make
extra views or any extra advertising.
Yeah, it's okay.
Like this big decked out Hummer with his logo on it, which is actually the logo stolen from the original RoboCop movie, by the way. And if you look at his logo, that's what it is. It's the old OCP.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, the guy's a tool. Let me just say that.
Anyway, so Maduro basically evidently called Trump up this week and said, hey, no mas. Let's see. According to people familiar with the exchange who spoke to the Wall Street Journal, Trump and Maduro discussed a sweeping amnesty plan, during which time Maduro is said to have sought blanket legal protection for himself, his senior officials, and their families. Trump told Maduro that if he didn't leave willingly, the U.S. would consider other options, including the use of force, according to people familiar with the discussion. Joe, I think this is absolutely true. I think this 100% happened.
I do too. I think it's highly likely that this happened, but it's also highly likely that at this point, it would be in Trump's best interest to not accept a deal with Maduro. Yeah, it would keep him as the peace president, but at this point, he's talked so tough about what he's going to do to Venezuela, he almost has to go forward.
Well, I think that's exactly right, Joe. And I think that's the reason why Trump's basically going to make it so shitty for Maduro to stay in power that Maduro just flees. And, he packs as many of his Muldoons and he gets all the Bitcoin they can, gets all the gold or money that they can fit in the one jet that they're able to take or whatever, like the 737 or whatever it is that they have as the presidential jet, puts him and 60 of his closest friends, and they fly to Brazil, they fly to Iran, or I don't know. I mean, where Nicaragua, maybe he could go. Where else do you think they could get to? I think Brazil's probably the most likely, just because you'd have to go south away from the American forces.
And also, well, first of all, yes, we think Brazil is the most likely. Wink, wink. But I think that too, that puts it beyond the reach. Sure, they have an extradition treaty, but Lula is not likely to cooperate with Donald Trump on anything. His options at this point are Nicaragua, Cuba, or Brazil, and Brazil makes the most sense. So,
yeah, I think that's right. And I would sure love for this whole Venezuela thing to end relatively peacefully. I don't think it'll ever be fully peacefully, because there are true believers in this regime who are willing to go down with guns blazing, if you will, or out in a blaze of glory or whatever. But Joe, a lot of
big favor in enabling us to identify all the traitors in our government, because all of the people who are coming out in support of Maduro, you have to scratch your head and be like, okay, I get it. You're opposed to Donald Trump, but you're going to come out on the side of Nicolas Maduro, who is literally killing his own people. Come on.
Who was that politician over the weekend who basically, said, I can't support anything about, because of the way Trump, talked about.
Which one? There were a million.
I guess maybe you followed it a little closer than I did, but I just saw one or two ones that were in my feed. But yeah, 100%, man. I mean, they're just basically saying, "Oh well, I can't back. This is too far, Joe." It's absolutely identifying the traitors.
Now, one of them had the brains to say, "Look, Maduro's a bad guy, but we also shouldn't be doing this." Though they all went full on. Maduro's just trying to help his people and do what he can, which is not true at all.
Which is not true.
Now, exactly. I don't think Maduro's the leader of some drug cartel that no one has ever heard of before this, but I also don't think he's a good guy.
Yeah, I mean, his country is barely functioning as well, right? I mean, let's be honest. On a good day, Venezuela is barely functioning, and it's totally broken down the rest of the time. Let's see.
Just Venezuela says a great point. Trump is the first president who treated the war on drugs as a war on drugs.
Right. Yeah, 100%. And that's an interesting thing too, Joe. If you saw the whole idea of people want to go after Hegseth now because they used a second missile on a target, I guess.
Boy, do I have some bad news for them. That's not exactly uncommon.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's be honest. How many times have they shown you the clean ones just because they're not ambiguous. Now I don't know. Did they show film of the double hit or
They don't.
Yeah. So this is a leak, and we don't even know that it's true. But I think that Hegseth did acknowledge that like something was hit twice, or they wanted to make sure that.
Yeah. How many times did this radio conversation happen? Hey, thanks for the initial bombardment. Before we move in, anything moving on the target, smoke it again. I mean, this is really not that unusual in military operations.
Or target not successfully disabled with the first shot. Let's go ahead and hit it again and completely disable it before we
re-engage.
Send the Coast Guard.
Open, same target, right?
Right.
So
yeah, what do you think fire for effect means? You continue to fire until you get the effect you want.
This is also why we don't say repeat over military radio networks, because repeat means hit it again.
It literally means repeat the last fire mission.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, so this next one is kind of leading into our main story topic, which is the problem with immigrants is. And so these aren't the problem with our immigrants. That's what we're going to focus on in the main topic. These are the problem with, immigrants in general. Let me share my screen here. So this is in Sweden. Over 325 million in fraudulent welfare benefits support illicit gang networks in Sweden, says a report. Joe, what do you bet? What do you bet that these gangs might, include a lot of immigrants?
Maybe. Sweden is a perfect community for people to try to blend in.
So here's the thing this is like the below the fold part of the story, right? So the above the fold part is this. A Swedish government review board found that thousands of people linked to gangs in Sweden have been drawing income from the country's benefit systems for years, creating what authorities describe as a reliable, legal-looking revenue stream for criminal networks. Okay, and it just sounds like Swedish criminal stuff, right? No big deal there.
Look at this dude trying to look hard on a Vespa, though.
That is a Vespa, isn't it? Good Lord, man! I mean, that's what happens when you're like a Muslim, gangster living in Sweden. Let's see. So basically it says here it effectively means that law-abiding Swedish taxpayers are inadvertently subsidizing criminal gangs. So not only you pay more taxes in Sweden, but your taxes get to actually subsidize criminal gangs. Wait a second, but then again, if you're in Minnesota, your taxes.
I was going to say this isn't exactly a Swedish problem.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that whole thing coming out about the Minnesota, like the what is it, the pension fund or for the Minnesota state workers or whatever, it's come out that all that money is getting funneled into Hamas and Muslim Brotherhood channels. So there's notes that the report shows a marked overrepresentation of people with a migration background in the cohort examined. Joe, this is amazing. It's almost like they should say immigrant gang members are taking Swedish government money. That's how the headline should read. Yeah. Not like, just criminal elements benefiting from the public support system.
Here's the thing. It's almost like the gang isn't out there to make drug money. They're out there just to make welfare money because it's good money. I like how it says a marked overrepresentation of people with a migration background. Oh, you mean illegal immigrants? Gotcha.
Saran, I feel like he's challenging the premise earlier. For fuck's sake, have you seen Black Women? The leftist twist you all buy into about white women. So hey, let me tell you, there's two separate and distinct issues with these two groups that you've identified. One is a political problem. It is entirely generated through politics, right? And that is the woke white woman phenomenon. The other group that you identified, I think it's majority a cultural problem, irrespective of their politics. That's just my point of view, and I'll just leave it there. So it's a completely different. Yeah, sir, I'm behind. Yeah, in about 40 minutes you'll catch up and you'll see this. You'll be happy to know that we addressed your comments.
You know what though? This goes directly to the awfuls statement. One is like, I want to get mine, so I'm all for the leftist ideals. That's the black woman. The affluent white woman is like, I should share everything I have with those poor people who aren't smart enough.
So should you.
Or
even worse, Joe. I can't share everything that I have, but I would be more than happy for you to share everything that you have.
Yeah, I would like the rest of you to share what you have with this person. It's always easy. It's always easier to embrace socialistic policies when you're well off and you have a little more money, because you think, all right, socialism will bring everyone to my level, rather than it's going to take you down to the lowest level, which is what really happens.
Mm. All right, let me continue on here. Investigators highlight the contradiction between the benefits required reduced workability and the documented activity of some recipients. Case studies in the report refer to individuals formerly certified as unfit to work, so like disabled, for work, who are also running gangs at the same time, traveling abroad, and coordinating violent offenses. One man listed on medical grounds after an accident was recorded visiting gyms and participating in gang operations. Another diagnosed with limited workability is reported to have led a large criminal network while accumulating more than 30 convictions. Joe, shocking that somebody who's a criminal would lie to the government about their physical ability to work.
Oh,
I
no.
know.
Yeah.
Let's see here. The situation was astonishing and insisted that public funds are meant for people who generally need them. Oh, well, no kidding. But guess what? When you make a system that is designed to give out free things, people are going to game the system in order to do this. One of the labor minister called them welfare pirates. Well, don't make welfare and you won't have welfare pirates. 67 over 67,000 people in Sweden have some sort of gang association. So, yep, interesting. A population that is overrepresented by migrants is systematically robbing the Swedish
Let me bet you
people.
that of those 67,000 who have gang membership, 0 of them are natural-born Swedes.
Probably not 0, but definitely not anywhere close to like.
Strike me as gangland until they began having in people. Now you may see some native Swede gangs for protecting their neighborhood, perhaps.
Yeah.
But.
Well, like I based on the article that I read back when I first heard about Sweden leading the world in grenade murders. Which I found to be an interesting statistic to lead the world on, was that the gangs that Swedish gangs were like the Jets and the Sharks back in the day. They went around going, do, smoking cigarettes and flashing switchblade knives, right?
Right.
But then enter the genocidal colonizers from Syria and Iraq and all these other places, and the weapons smuggling that comes with them, and all of a sudden the Swedish gangs start having to become a little more than they are, which made the Swedish gangs smaller and way more violent. So, but that being said, Joe, I think you're right. I think it's probably 80 to 90% of this violent criminal network is entirely imported. Good job, Sweden. Yeah, biker gangs, right? I think that was like one of the things. And Nazi thugs in Sweden. I mean, Sweden did have. Was it Sweden that had that guy that white supremacist dude who shot up that children's camp or something like that.
That was Norway, actually.
Oh, Norway. Okay, yeah, same difference.
But
though.
Lost Corps points out that Sweden had lots of gangs that were highly violent in the 900s.
I know, right? The socialism kind of pulled the teeth of the Swedish Vikings, right?
That's what I keep saying about it. I'm like, look, you're a nation founded by Bjorn Ironsides, the son of Ragnar Lothbrok, and look where you have fallen yourselves to.
Exactly right.
Oh,
I'm just think of what Gustav Adolfsson would think if he could come back and see this. You know, one of the great generals of his day, probably one of the best of the top military minds of the 1600s, and you know,
yeah.
All right. Joe, you want to talk a little bit about tactical-wisdom.com?
Sure. First of all, as part of that, can you share this screen right here that I have? Hold on, where did it go? Right
yeah, sure.
here. Yeah, share that one. If you'll note, in the Mountain Trader, there is an ad right there for Tactical Wisdom. So how about that?
Look at
anyway, that highlights the class I have coming up in 2 weeks, Winter Survival. We have some snow on the ground. We're going to teach you how to put up look at that. Machine Guns Montana is on the same page as me. Awesome. And then there's the Up in Arms gun show that I'm going to be at. Listen, you can come out and learn some winter survival skills, learn how to build a couple of different snow shelters, learn a little bit about firecraft, learn a little bit about navigation in a snow-filled environment. It'll be kind of cool. It's a 2-day class, Saturday, Sunday. So come and check that out. It's going to be a good time. We've got some folks registered for it already. But then going into, let me pop off of there and we can pull up my website. We have some other classes coming up in January. We have Winter Fieldcraft, where we take our normal Fieldcraft class, but we add in some winter elements to it. Movement in the snow, how to be a little more camouflaged in the snow, how to hide your tracks, how to move so that you don't leave tracks in the snow. Yes, it's possible. It's just very hard. And then after that, we go back to Winter Survival again. And I believe we have a combatives class sometime. It might be February or January. I'm not even sure. But we have lots of classes coming up over the winter. We're not closed just because it gets snowy up here. They're real good about the roads here, so you can get in here. But it'll be a good time. Check that stuff out. I did want to point something out that I meant to mention in the beginning, but since I have a minute, I'm going to use it. Old Hong Kong came out over the weekend, brought his family out and got their Christmas tree. And Thor made best friends with Old Hong Kong's junior, the young lady, their daughter, and they had a good time. But once again, Jim bought out some elk meatballs he made from some ground elk I gave him, and they were absolutely amazing. If Jim ever wants to cook for you, just say yes, because the man knows his way around the kitchen. So, pretty solid.
Yeah, I stay away from any unidentified meatballs unless I know the person who has made them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta trust the person who made them, and I can basically say, oh, well, you know, like that guy wouldn't lie to me. If he says it's one thing, it's got to be that thing, right?
Yeah. So it's a good time. It's a good time. It's always a good time when Jim.
All right. I do not have a brush beater ad today because I was getting the show ready. Normally, I'm making a brush beater ad.
Brush beater ad for you. The brush beater 3 to 18 by 50 medium powered variable optic scope is absolutely fantastic.
Oh, you know what?
Best hunting scope I've ever used. What I like about it is I keep it on 6 power generally, but if there's a deer way out there, I can dial it up to 18 power. Look at the head, see what kind of horns it has, decide if it's one I want. And the other cool thing is the illuminated reticle. Instead of having to turn it all the way up to 12 and then off or all the way down, whatever, it's got an off in between each level. So you just have to make one small movement to turn it off. which is actually kind of cool.
Which one are you talking about? 3x18?
3 to 18, yep. And another cool thing about it is it's sort of got a rangefinder feature. There's a focus ring on the side. Instead of just being a random one, it's got stops for each 100, 150 yards, or each 100 or 50 yards. And once you see where it's focused, that's your range. Now you know how to adjust your point of impact, right?
Yeah, that's a good price for that, man.
Dude, that is a great price for a 3 to 18 by 50 scope.
With these kind of sniper style turrets, not like hunting turrets.
Yeah, and it's got a fantastic reticle on it. I don't know if there's a photo down below of the reticle, but it is actually.
Oh, here we go. Yeah,
it's a pretty solid reticle. Yeah,
yeah.
It's awesome. If you know how to use such a reticle, it is pretty fantastic. That way, you don't even have to mess with your turrets. You just use the reticle to do the work like you're supposed to. So
yeah, I'm interested in getting an LPVO because I've never had one.
So I have that one on an AR with my thermal mounted directly in front of it, and it's fantastic. That is a great LPVO. Let's go down to the reticle on that one too. It's actually a really nice reticle with a rangefinder and all that above it. So
this one,
yep. Great reticle. Even if you've got it all the way down to 1 power, it's just like a red dot, right? And it works great. But then you've got all the other settings for those of you who know how to use such a reticle. So,
for those who know how to use such reticle, let's see.
Well,
here we go.
Guys who don't know how to use a reticle, right? They don't understand what all that stuff is for down there.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those kind of things. A lot of times, it's not what you'd call intuitive, but I mean, pretty much you just need a little bit of. So this is basically a bullet drop for 5.56, 223. Yeah, I'm just reading what it's. Okay, that's cool. Yep, definitely check those out. And if you decide that you too want to get one of these, just remember. Code CFC10 gets you 5% off. If any of these items are over $100, so you ship for free. And tell them the CFC sent you.
Yeah, all of his topics are good. Hunch, we're waiting for a review from you on the Jambia. Let me know. I don't have one yet. Maybe Matt will see this show and hear that I don't have one yet. Wink, wink. And we'll go from there.
Yeah. A while back, he said he had hooked me up with one of those. That was back before that was actually released yet. So maybe sending one to me now would be a terrible idea. Just wait till I come back and then
soon he'll have an RMR pistol option out. I have the only one in existence right now, and it's pretty good. Pistol Red Dot update. Yes, it's good. I've given him the feedback. We actually played with it a little bit when I was in North Carolina. Even though I have damaged the one he gave me, it still works and held 0 amidst the damage. So it's a well-built Red Dot. So it's coming.
All right, guys. So let's talk. Let's talk about these. Joe, there's some immigrants can be good and bad. No, I mean you freely admit that immigrants are not all bad. That being said, the way that our country has approached immigration in the last 20 years is just totally nonsensical. It's like my wife is a naturalized U.S. citizen. She immigrated to the United States, right? So I have a special place in my heart for that particular immigrant. That being said, not all immigrants are created equal. And the biggest problem, I think the biggest point of blame here is not the people outside America that want to destroy what we have and take what we have. I don't blame anybody for that, right? Because they're just being fish got to swim, right? That's what I blame is the people. We created a system that took in immigrants and effectively, brought them in and made them part of the U.S. fabric, but they've completely broken that to the point now where we are literally under existential threat from the immigrants that were brought in under these broken immigration laws. Joe, I don't know if you saw over the weekend, President Trump said that he's basically halting all immigration from the third world. Yeah, so pretty broad list of countries that would go under the heading of third world, but it'll be interesting to see. I guess probably today we'll start to see that get fleshed out. But what was your take when you heard that?
You know what? I think it's not a bad idea at all. It's just a little bit late. We probably should have stopped this a long time ago. But hey, what are you going to do?
Well, the interesting thing is that, the one thing I'll always give Trump credit for, like there are things that he does that I don't like. And when those things don't work, he has no kind of like, there's no sunk cost fallacy with him. You know what I mean? Like he will literally stop doing the he was advocating for last week. He'll stop doing it this week and literally go the other way. So that's an interesting thing that he does. And so hopefully that this is him realizing that he made a mistake with the previous policy. And now he's tightening down immigration until we can fix the problem, right? There's a lot of policy stuff that has to get fixed before we can kind of bring this stuff back up again. H-1Bs. Yeah. The first version of this, I really like the whole, hey, it's $1 million, right? Or, it was $100,000, but then it became no, it's not $100,000 like every year or whatever. It's $100,000 just for the company who is applying. Now, Joe, I heard some rationale on why then it's less than $100,000, but I heard some rationale on why, I guess there's a lot of companies that abuse the H-1B visas. So the way I heard in the example that I heard was like, you have giant company A and they have 300,000, positions filled by Indian workers, right? Or maybe it's, 30,000 positions, right? And so what they would do is they would immediately just put a H-1B application for every one of those 30,000 employees. And so anyone that gets accepted, then that employee just gets moved to the U.S. And then almost always continues to make the same wages that they did in Mumbai when they get to Massachusetts, and so that's abuse. So I guess even $25,000, which is way less than 100,000, but I think 100,000 is probably the right number, at least in my point of view. I mean, what do you think there, Joe? I mean, is there a way to make something like an H-1B work?
Well, H-1B does have a use, but it's been overused and abused for so long,
right,
that it needs some serious revamping. And this going back and forth on the $100,000 thing is silly. He should have just stuck to his guns and said, yeah, if you're going to do it, but it's going to cost you money, because we're outsourcing jobs that shouldn't be H-1B jobs. That's just ridiculous. So many.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm distracted by the fact that I just said that site wasn't available, but it is.
Which one's that? Oh, the RMR?
Yeah.
It's already out?
Yeah. And I've got it up. Hold on. Let me give you a quick link. I just dropped the link in the chat, but if you want to pull up my screen right here, it is actually out. And
oh yeah, that's pretty sexy.
What's interesting, it says that hold on, if we scroll down here, it says drop tested on concrete by Joe Dolio of Tactical Wisdom. But it is actually, and it is a green emitter. I asked him for a green dot, way easier on the eye, especially as you get advanced in years. It's easier to see, and it's actually a little bit better to have that green dot. So,
yeah. No, I totally get that. I've almost only experience with red dots, but
Right.
yeah, I've seen a lot of
you have to manually adjust the light. Sorry, it's not all, I think green is really the way to go. And the other one that I have is a blue one. So we'll go back to our story now. I was distracted by that.
No, that's fine. Well, I mean, I think maybe this story could be applicable if they had RMRs. It might have been an easier day for these guys. But then again, if they had their weapons loaded when he came up to them and started blasting, maybe they would have a better day of it. DC Terror Ambush. Go ahead.
I was just going to acknowledge Rick here. I also like the blue on the Lucid E7. Not a bad sight either. So anyway, carry on.
Yeah. All right. DC Terror Ambush forces U.S. to reckon with $14 billion Afghan evacuation program that imported chaos. It's one of the, like, if you remember the earliest day, actually in the first episode after that was occurring during the actual invasion, like the day of the initial invasion of Ukraine, I had one of my old buddies from Afghanistan who was in Albania at the time, if I remember correctly. And he came on the show and we were just talking about, what it's like being in combat, all this kind of stuff, because he was a combat journalist and former Afghan commando. And so I was checking in on his X feed to kind of get his take. And his take was very much like me and my family just want to be left alone. We just want to be able to go to work and do our thing. And I don't even want to go, it's like this. I understand his frustration. The problem is that I hate to say it, but I think that's a minority of these Afghans that we brought over are compatible with being Americans.
Correct.
I mean, I remember when I was in Afghanistan, he frequently was frustrated with just living in Afghanistan. He eventually tried to help make the country work better, and I think he got into the political system there. But eventually he fled just like everybody else who was involved in all that stuff, and did eventually get him and his family out. I think they were living in Virginia, the last I heard. All right. Ex-CIA linked Afghan national who gunned down one National Guard soldier and critically injured another in an ambush terror attack. Blocks from the White House has finally forced a long overdue reckoning over reckless immigration policies.
Let me point something out about that photo. That photo is why you should never, ever carry without one in a chamber. Look at it.
And you should
back and get space so you can load the gun. And that's how you get stabbed or shot.
Well, and that's exact. And you should never turn your back to a threat either. Here's my question: do they have plates in these vests? I hope so.
I hope so. It looks like he does, but I don't know.
Lost Core 23 for $10 over on Rumble. The Caps DC hockey team has been celebrating a retired colonel who was part of the leadership of Operation Ally Refuge. Is that
U.S. or Afghan? Because I know of one retired Afghan colonel through a mutual friend who's pretty solid. So.
Yeah, this is the thing that I hate about seeing these Afghans do this, right? Is that we all, having fought in Afghanistan, I have a lot of contempt for the baseline of Afghan society. But there were a lot of really solid people that were over there that, they wanted nothing more than to turn Afghanistan into their version of an American version of Afghanistan. It was never going to happen. It was always a pipe dream. But they could have made a better version of Afghanistan, and alas, that failed. And so a good number of those deserve to be able to come to America or some other country. Because, listen, when whether it's a good idea or a bad idea for us to be in Afghanistan for 20 years, when you're over there for 20 years, there are certain people that basically put all the chips in on you. And when they do that, when things go wrong, just like in Vietnam, there were a lot of great Vietnamese who came over after, at the fall of Saigon and things like that. But just like the boat lifts in Vietnam, you got the shit and you got the good ones, those that yearn to be free came with barnacles attached to them. So you got to do a really good job. And I hate to say it, you throw them in a camp, call it whatever you want, immigration detention facility. Yeah, I don't disagree, Lost Core. UAE would be a great country for a lot of these,
or some other country. So,
or some other country, right? I think we have an obligation to help them. We don't have an obligation to make them U.S. citizens. We don't have an obligation
to put them in the homeowners association, but we can help them.
Yeah, and you're right, Diatica. Vietnam had a different base culture. I'm not convinced we should allow anyone to come over. They put their chips and lost. Yeah, it's the same look. Yeah, I agree. And that this is the reason why I'm not an advocate for U.S. settlement of even
the Vietnam conflict was very different. It was communism versus freedom versus Islamism versus secularism, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, see, that's the problem with Afghanistan is we tried to make America in Afghanistan. You could never do that. So the best illustration I give to, and I'm sure I've said this on the show before, but it's probably been a while, so it's worth repeating, is there was a school built by the PRT. That's the Provincial Reconstruction Team. This was in Kunar province. And they made this nice two-story school for, kind of separate boys and girls classes and things like this. It had modern heating and all this wiring and all the bells and whistles, right? Because it was basically made an American school. Let's be honest, it wasn't an American school, but it was way better than any Afghan building in that probably town, right? So they make that and then they walk away from it. And so they come back to it. The PRT moves out of that area, but then they decide we're doing an operation there. And they're like, hey, we want to check up on that school and see how it's going. What do they need? If we need to put some more money into it for repairs and things like that. Here's what they found. They found literally a structure that had been basically completely stripped of all the modern things. They had basically taken a jackhammer or some other kind of impediment and made a hole in the ceiling so that they could set a fire inside the classroom and burn a fire to stay warm in the winter. They were very happy because the concrete, once it got hot inside the room with the fire, it stayed nice and warm. Because concrete's a good insulator. The problem is that it did, like, all of the internet stuff that they put in there, all of the copper wire, all that stuff was all stripped out. And the stuff that was in there was stuff that was bought locally, all Chinese bullshit that was bought locally. Like, they had some solar panels on the top to provide any electricity and whatnot. The generators, all the stuff, all of that was gone. So it's like, the lesson I took away from that is, like, listen, you can't spend, if you spend $500,000 on a school in a province in Afghanistan, you're wasting your money. Here's what you do. You tell them, listen, here's $25,000. You can make a school with that. And they will make a shitty school because there's not a lot of extra to skim off. You give them $500,000 and then they will take about 90% of that. It will go into their pockets. There was a road construction fund that was made, and the road up to the warlord's house was paved, but that was it. Everything else was still. So when you do all this stuff, you got to just do it. Let them do it themselves, and you give them 10% of the money that you would have been willing to spend on it, and let them do their thing, and then leave them be. That was one of the biggest fucking things that we failed to do in Afghanistan. Yeah, wars are giant money laundering. Yeah. What do you think this Ukraine reconstruction is going to be when that happens? Let's see. Afghans arrived in the U.S. Through Operation Allies Welcome and related evacuation efforts. Migration policy analysts estimate that approximately 90,000 people from the collapsed, war-torn country were flown into the U.S. in the aftermath of the Biden-Harris regime's disastrous
I seem to
fall.
recall a couple of guys on a show saying there's literally no way to vet these people, right?
Joe, it's almost like there was a like a need for a show about that, and that's why we did the show. It was literally, if I remember correctly, that was one of the things that like I think we did a show that was supposed to be a Writers Fix Problems, and we ended up talking about like the fall of Kabul for like the whole show. Let's see what we got here. FBI Director Kash Patel warned reporters last week that previous administration decided to allow thousands of people in without doing a single background check or vetting. The irony is that it's kind of hard now. It's like the horses are out of the barn, right?
Yeah, let's lock the door now.
Well, that being said, I think that, and I posted this on X earlier today. I think we really have to start looking at basically taking away people's visas, taking away people's naturalized citizenship, basically denaturalization of people. I think Ilhan Omar would be a perfect.
With importing people from Africa and the Middle East, they don't keep a lot of records. You ask the average Afghan when his birthday is, and he doesn't know. He's not sure of the exact date, right? And there are lots of guys who are looking for where we had 4 or 5 different dates of birth because they don't remember what year they were born or it wasn't ever listed, right? And names there are like they are in South America. They're patronymics. They go by family names and this, that, and the other thing, and they shift. And one guy can have 5 different names depending on what he's doing that day, including a war name and all kinds of other odd and crazy things. Really hard to vet people from cultures that don't keep written records.
Yeah. Let's see. I want to play this this interview here on CNN. Hold on a second. Bear with me here.
You see how they're trying to pull the Tsarnaev play on this kid? They're putting him on here about, he might have PTSD, and here he is in an American-style uniform, and they're trying to make him into some sort of a folk hero. And to me, that is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, there's something about this guy. Joe, I think I'll leave you the links on this stuff so you can read deeper, but I think it's pretty interesting. All right, let's listen to this guy.
Through the same process, but here's the thing: a U.S. commanding general recommended me. I had 45 letters of recommendation. I went through a clearance process, even though everybody knew me, but I had to wait 3 years to get my visa. Yeah. While we have an open border, we have guys like them, put them on a plane, bring them to the U.S. What do you expect? This has to be.
So there were a significant number of people who made it into America from Afghanistan for one reason only, because they were at HKI when all this shit started going down. They were at the
airport when it happened.
They were at the airport, right? And they had some bullshit document or whatever that made it, made a soldier think, oh, okay, he's one of our guys or whatever. He's by himself. He's a military-age male by himself. He's trying to get out of here so he doesn't get his head chopped. Okay, yeah, no problem. I mean, like I'm a, private Smuckatelli, and I don't have any, authority. This guy seems legit to me. Whatever, no skin off my chin, and that's how a lot of these guys get over it. Who had there was no vetting, there was no nothing.
Yeah, and it has been always a bipartisan problem. It's not a Democratic problem, Republican problem. Look, Bush started the war. President Obama, he surged it. President Trump made a deal with the Taliban. President Biden, he just exited in a most shameful, chaotic, through the same process. But
Yeah, he was getting ready to say, and it got cut off there at the end. The most shameful and chaotic way that the former President Biden exited the country. Yeah, so definitely some. I wanted to. Joe, have you seen much about this guy's background? The Afghan, the shooter.
Other than the Kandahar Strike Force, and before that, he was with another organization in a different province.
Yeah, I wanted to.
But somebody pointed this out. I think it was Clay. These are people who we gave them money and they betrayed their own country. You think they're somehow going to have loyalty to yours? It's a great point.
All right, this is that guy I was telling you about. He was not a member of the AN. So this is I'll share my screen here. This is Mustafa. He is one of the guys that I actually wrote letters for and helped get out of. I don't know if what I did helped him actually get out, but I was in contact with him during that period of time, and I think I talked about it on the show. And I was trying to help get him out. Right? He says Lakawal was not a member of the Afghan National Army. He was a member of the intelligence agency, which is NDS. Which is mentored by the CIA and British intel with help from several Scandinavian intelligence agencies. I thought that was kind of
Scandinavian intelligence agencies.
Right. Well, I mean, the Finns might be able to put up some numbers there, but I don't know about Swedish and Norwegian intelligence. His unit was accused of human rights violations, torture, and extrajudicial killings. And so there was another one up here where he actually, so he's talking about this quite a bit. So he's not afraid to kind of, the matter of sleeper agents and individuals inside the U.S. brought here from Afghanistan in 2021 is serious. There are several categories of individuals who are now granted some sort of immigration benefit while they do not fit any ally or at-risk categories. Yeah, I mean, of course he because this guy is a legitimate guy, right? He's like that guy that was on CNN. These people, have like legitimate reasons to be here. It's the FBI and DHS decision to promptly arrest Mohammed Dawad al-Kozi was a much needed step amidst the chaos of the shooting in D.C. As I watched his video, my wife asked if I was going to report it. I told her someone who already has done it. It's just a matter of time. According to DHS statistics, there are 885 Afghan nationals inside the U.S. who have direct national security-related flags on their files and cases. Each one of them could be another shooter or bomber. DHS and FBI must act on them before another. Yeah, 100%. DHS and FBI absolutely should be rounding up every one of these motherfuckers and at least detaining them and questioning them.
What's crazy is we were all led to believe that that's the reason why we brought them to U.S. military bases first. Was to sort these people out and then release them?
Exactly right.
And that
exactly right. Well, here's what I'm worried about, Joe, is that they did sort them. They noted, okay, this guy's a problem. All right, go ahead, Muhammad. We'll see you later. Because that implies that there's some sort of willfulness that allowed these people to make it through the.
I think that's entirely possible. As I said again, the deep state is at war with the administration. So,
yeah. I like this too right here. There are already 5 million people from 19 countries of concern inside the U.S. mainland. Some are U.S. citizens, some are permanent residents, and some are undocumented. Every one of these countries has at least 2 threat indicators, one being terrorism. I thought this was pretty interesting, Joe. Kind of like I want to send you this guy's account so you can look through it. He thinks like we do, as far as like there are a lot of warnings and indicators here. And so if you tell me that these are the countries that you're going to, ban people from, plus a bunch of other poor countries, I would be more than happy to
I want to talk about the Somalis on this. Somalia is on that list. They're openly saying they don't want to be part of America, but they want to hold the American territory they have, right?
Look, There's two countries that have six indicators here, and one is Somalia and the other is Sudan.
Which are right next to each other. A little Ethiopia in between them, but who cares?
Yeah. What's a little?
What's a little Ethiopians between friends?
All
But
right.
they openly want,
Go
they
ahead.
openly call themselves Somalis, say they serve Somalia first and U.S. second, and that they hate America. And there's a sheriff who said that he's a sheriff for Somali citizens. Okay, that's not your job. That's not your role. And we should be doing something about that.
Hey, Joe, somebody's got your truck over in
I
Afghanistan.
know, right? I would rock this truck 100%. I'd probably paint over the NDS and the emblem, but I would rock it.
I don't know. The flags aren't real. That's just an image that was put on there. But the NDS, that would be some cachet, some serious cachet. Maybe the door, keep the paint over the door, but then keep the NDS because if you know type of thing.
They're like East Tiger Stripe, no?
Exactly right. Anyway, so this is where he goes deep into depth about the units and things like this, where this guy came from.
All the way
right,
to the Dushka on my truck. Oh man.
Well, there's a couple more here, Joe. These are the actual guys in the look at that tiger stripe. So these guys were legitimate fighters. I mean, like the NDS commandos and the Interior Ministry commandos were they were very well trained. And they put up some numbers during the war. Here's another one. Look at that. It's got a little
pretty nice
little thing in the back. Yeah. I think that's a Ford. This is a Ford Ranger. Anyway, so let me read through this here a little bit. I'll put the picture back up so you have something to look at. The individual that was contractor for the CIA Special Activities Division in Kandahar, Afghanistan, as part of a group of elite units called Zero Series units, referring to the zero before each unit's number. There were 5 of those units across the country, and Lockwall's unit was 03, based out of Kandahar province. Responsible to 3 to 5 provinces in southern Afghanistan. The force, the unit was initially created to help the U.S. and NATO forces during Operation Anaconda. When need shifted from Anaconda, though, the AFOs were left with a group of semi-trained, pseudo-equipped fighters and basically didn't know what to do with them. They decided to regulate them and attach them to Afghan Intelligence Agency, or NDS, and were named 01, 02, etc. Based on priority of location they'd get assigned to. Later, they were trained to conduct counterterrorism and direct assault and intervention operations in U.S. soft style, have the ability to operate if needed in the absence of American forces, and based on their tactics. These units became a CIA assault force in Afghanistan. By the time the agency didn't have the conventional force readily available to them, Afghan army and soft units were equally lethal and useful, but were highly regulated and were led by the book elite units. When the Afghan government demanded the U.S. forces stop nighttime raids in Afghanistan, the important O units were magnified as they could carry out identical operations and still claim they were carried by non-American units. And so that kind of gives you the ability of the understanding of their capabilities. When we stopped doing the operations, they basically were able to continue doing the exact same operations. Probably with U.S. support, but like these guys were no shit pipe hitters on the ground. The unit's kill count, both civilian and enemy, was considered too high in some of these instances. The reported EKIAs were no enemies reported in an area. At this point leads to number 3. The units were extremely effective in counterterrorism and operations that conventional Afghan forces could not handle. However, they were accused in cases where civilians were killed, false operations were conducted, torture took place, and human rights were severely violated. Wow, shocking, Joe, that Afghans would broach the wall of human rights. These units were trained by and equipped by the CIA's SAC or SAD, sometimes given identical gear and kit as the U.S. SOF would use, paid about $300 to $600 a month, and issued special vehicles. Administratively, they were part of the Afghan intelligence. The main course in their training with CQB and advanced infantry operations minus marching. When hired, the members were not promised SIVs to the U.S., but participation was that if somebody works with the Americans, they will take them to the to the U.S. And this mentality at times proved right, but was not guaranteed privilege. Some of the sister units of those were the Boost 170, the unit attached to UKSF, the Coast Security Force, Unit 915, and Unit 124. So someday they're going to write a history about all this shit. It's going to be fascinating to read.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, it's like all that SF history that came out of Vietnam, like in the late 80s. Early 90s, where, you started getting the stories about how all the spike teams and all that kind of stuff that supported the MAC-VSOG operations. Anyway, there were some legitimate people, and the word around the campfire is this guy was absolutely radicalized after he came to America. Now, I don't believe that necessarily. He may have had some axes to grind, when it came to the U.S. By the time we left. So, all right. So that's a one specific immigrant that we're talking about in the problem, and then the problems more broadly about the Afghan immigrants. Now let's just talk about out of control immigration specifically for the last 4 years. This is a clip from the Jim Varney show. Is it Jim Varney? What's his name? Anyway, we'll just watch the clip here. It's a Fox News clip. I need to share the video with you guys. Here we go.
Fox to reveal what's really going on. Doge exposed our immigration asylum disaster. That was the tip of the iceberg. Now, here's the story. Doge has found that immigration gave a work authorization document to illegals just 5 months after they filed for asylum. That document allowed them to work while they waited to hear whether their asylum request had been accepted or denied. So they could work as an illegal, knowing it would take years before their case was heard. The immigration department mailed them a social security number. No interview, no proof of identity. Just put it in the mail. Here's your number.
Can you believe that, Joe? Just 6 months into the country, you're not even here for any good reason. You came across illegally. You're given and then here's the social security number, so you could start working and legally and get benefits.
It's not the way it's supposed to work,
But this is how it worked under the Biden administration.
2021.
Look at these numbers.
270,000 new aliens were issued social security numbers. 590,000 in 2022, 964,000 in 2023, and 2.1 million in 24. Wow. Right before.
This is just the ones that were given social security numbers, not all illegal aliens.
Biden left office. Doge also discovered that 1.3 million aliens are now receiving Medicaid. Millions received driver's licenses, some registered to vote, and Doge says some actually did vote. Try and square that against Democrat claims that Musk is destroying Social Security and cutting Medicaid. He's not destroying, he's weeding out people who don't qualify. Who is really guilty of misinformation in this case? It is not Elon Musk.
So, the broader story there was about the whole Doge and was Doge doing the right thing or whatever. I think that, I think Doge absolutely got sold out because there are a lot of really powerful people who were motivated for this to happen. But just those numbers alone, Joe, I mean, let me just kind of recap those. 270,000, more than 590,000 in 22, 964,000 in 2023, and 2.09 million in 2024. They was given social security numbers.
That's a lot. By the way,
Dude.
I just saw that Mustafa followed me. I hadn't followed him back, so I just followed him back.
Yeah, he's like I said, he's good people. I've kind of lost touch with him over the last couple of years, but like as soon as I heard this thing, I was like, I bet this guy knows, some pretty good info about it. And sure enough, he didn't disappoint. All right. Last story in this segment. Joe, I know this one is near and dear to your heart. If we get one thing out of this, I hope they dismantle these Somali tribal, autonomous tribal collectives here that have assembled here in America. Watch Somali enclave standoff. No English, no women on camera. In a tense street encounter captured in Minneapolis, Somali-dominated Cedar Riverside neighborhood, filmmaker Nick Shirley attempted to interview residents about life as Muslims in America, only to face demands to delete footage, refusals to speak English, and claims that women can't appear on camera, highlighting the cultural chasm. Nothing surprising, here at all. I mean, let's watch a bit of his video.
What's it like being a Muslim here in the United States?
I'm not speaking English, only one Somali language.
What does it mean to you to be a part of Islam?
I don't know, I'm not speaking English very well.
How are you? Do any of you speak English? English? No. Can women speak on camera? No. I kept going because I wanted to speak with some more of the elders here to see if they could share their story about coming here from Somalia and how they've seen the rise firsthand. However,
Hello.
None of them spoke English.
How are you? Can I ask any of you guys some questions? No. Speak English?
English no.
No. Do any of you speak English?
After a few interviews, somebody came up to us angry because we were asking people about the rise of Islam inside this
My name is Nick
community.
Shirley.
What are you doing?
My name is Nick Shirley. I'm a YouTuber. We're doing a video on the rise of Islam here in the United States.
The rise of Islam.
Yeah, it's the number one converting
The
religion.
rise of Islam. Make it make sense for me.
Yeah, it's number one. It's the number one converting religion in the United States. So we're doing a
The
subject
number
on it.
one converting religion in the United States.
It's like the number one growing religion. So
Wait, isn't it after Christ?
Hold on a second. 1999 deserves a stop. Just Me, Texas goes for 1999. Don't stop the show. Nothing to say. Just sharing the wealth when I can. Hey, brother, I'm stopping. You spend 1999 on a super chat with a dope ass icon with a guy with a eye patch on, and I'm stopping the show.
What?
Isn't it after Christ?
This guy wouldn't show his face on camera, and this conversation kept going for a few minutes, and he demanded that we deleted the footage of the interviews that we took here on the street. I said no, and he said, you better go, and we're going to make sure you leave.
I've never been in a situation like that while I've been filming where somebody comes out of nowhere and wants to take the footage. I was watching a video prior to this video, and there is a Somali gang war going on here inside of these apartment complexes, apparently. I think we just went upon a gang, and I didn't know that they were a gang. And right now, he said, you better leave, and we're going to make sure you get out of here. So right now, there is somebody following from behind, making sure that we get out of this place. Not the most friendly welcome here into this part of Minnesota.
Well, I mean, that's welcome to the hood, welcome to the Mogadishu hood, for that matter.
I know a little bit about this area because when I worked for Target Corporation, it was part of my area of responsibility. That apartment building behind them is called Mogadishu in the Sky. If that's what they call it, and it's very big, and they wanted to paint the big Somali star on it, and I think they were told no. But it's a very interesting place.
Hunch Dirty Roofer for $2 over in so this is absolutely disgusting to me. There are documented cases of Bakabazi happening in the refugee camps and bases here in the U.S. Our government keeps it quiet, nothing done or nothing will be done. Hey, dude, we kept it quiet all the time. We would work with people who were doing that, and we knew they were doing that. Now, I never encountered that directly when I was there, but I knew plenty of people who did, and it's just absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, it's and there was a lot worse that happened on those bases. Female service members were harassed or worse, and all kinds of problems with that. So, yep.
Minnesota's 100K plus 100,000 person.
Really low number. That number is not even close to accurate.
Well, plus, right? Somali population surged under Obama Biden, fueling Democratic dominance in the elected Ilhan Omar amidst fuse. Joe, Ilhan Omar is under, like, evidently they are actually looking to go after her and go after her naturalization over her false statements that she made.
Should have a long time ago.
I know, but I let me just be honest. This is one of those kind of things where you and I are like, they should do this, right? But they never do. The fact that they're even talking about doing it now, like in public, I can't believe it's almost like I can't believe what we're seeing here. So good news, of course, if that actually happens, or let me be honest, I'm a little bit cynical here. We've heard a lot of great ideas that never even come to anything. This will end up being another NFA. Get rid of the NFA thing. Oh, no. We're not going to get rid of it.
We're going to get rid of Obamacare.
You're right. It's hard. Let's see. It's hardly integrated into America when the mayor of Minneapolis feels the need to conduct a speech in Somali. Jacob Fry's recent Somali speech, "This is our city," drew pandering blasts. Let's see. In a recent Newsmax segment, ICE Director Todd Lyons discussed President Trump's push to revoke TPS for Somalis in Minnesota amidst the allegation of widespread immigration fraud, including marriage scams, visa overstays, and forged documents uncovered in the DHS Operation Twin Shield. They're saying as many as half, 50%, are fully here fraudulently, and if they were to go after the people who the people who were legitimately here, who then supported and lied in order for these fraudulent people to come in, then you would get another 10 to 15% of the legitimate population.
And Somalia hasn't had an actual legitimate functioning government for close to 50 years. So what sort of records are you able to vet these people against? Not even marriage records, because they don't have any, right?
Exactly.
There's literally no way to prove things beyond "I said so." So,
all right, and for the in the sake of "I said so," moving on to topic number 2, Ukraine. Do we care?
No, we literally don't care. All right, we're done with topic 2.
Hey, there we go. The problem is Ukraine cares about us. Is Ukraine anti-corruption investigation turning into a rolling coup? This is actually a pretty smart way to kind of take care of things, right? Like, you go after the small fish. You do it like a mafia prosecution. You go after the small fish, get them to rat on the bigger fish, use the money and follow the money, which is the kind of hardest thing to hide in a lot of these crimes, and then work your way up the food ladder. Zelensky might be next after Yermak was taken down unless he complies with Trump's demand for peace. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's one thing or it's the other. It's 6-7, right? Sorry, apologize for that. In which case, it's not unforeseeable that he could formally be implicated in this scandal as the catalyst for a U.S.-backed regime change carried out in collusion with his domestic allies. Yeah, that would be really easy for us to basically color revolution Zelensky mid-war into somebody who's a little more conciliatory in the face of essentially continuous Russian victories in the West or in the East. Zelensky's warmongering Gray Cardinal Andriy Yermak was formerly served as the chief of staff, submitted his resignation after apartment was raided as part of the investigation into Ukraine's $100 million energy graft scandal. Russian ambassador at large, Rudion Miroshnik, believes that he was fired, however, to protect Zelensky as the walls close in on him amidst this. Whatever truth may be.
Closing in.
Anyway. Yeah, we've heard that before. Miroshnik might be onto something, which will be elaborated throughout this analysis. So I'm just going to hit some of these high points here. Yermak whispered into Zelensky's ear to play tough with Trump and rejected the U.S. draft peace framework, after which the U.S. led anti-corruption bodies that it funds to proceed with their investigation. Next up might come Zelensky if he doesn't comply with Trump's demands. In parallel, the U.S. might threaten the corrupt oligarchs that they'll be caught in a dragnet too, unless they get their parliamentary proxies to go along with the rolling regime change against Zelensky. This is one of those kind of things. Zelensky, we're going to get you by hook or by crook, right? If you don't do the one, we can always do the other. This is the problem with corruption. You open yourself up to coercion and to do things that you don't want to do, because let's be honest, anybody who's corrupt, other people know about it.
What does the C in the MICE acronym stand for?
I don't know.
Coercion, right? You should leave yourself subject to coercion. So
Yeah. Well, I just don't know the thing. Let's see. In retrospect, Zelensky's efforts over the summer to subordinate the Nabu Sapo were aimed at averting this, but they failed. Trump is now using these anti-corruption bodies to finally coerce him into peace. It'll be interesting to see how this goes. I'll be honest with you. I get a feeling we're in the end game for the Ukrainian war effort, and I think this is one of the reasons why Russia's pushing so hard on some of the key places along the line of control or the front line there, because they basically want to freeze the borders in Donetsk and Zaporizhia and Luhansk, as far forward as possible. Moving on. So, Joe, something that I know you've talked quite a bit about is sinking ships, and piracy, and so we're seeing a bunch of ships sinking. Let me share my screen here. All right, Kazakhstan angrily calls on Ukraine to stop Black Sea oil terminal attacks. So evidently, Ukraine is using remote-controlled or drone, Starlink-controlled, against these both in port and away from port. So we've got one here. This is the Black Sea or oil terminal. And then we've got one off the coast of Dakar. So two very different places, and they're all just going boom, just spontaneously.
So it's a little bit easier to legally justify the strikes in the Black Sea. The one in the Atlantic Ocean off Senegal, off of the capital of Senegal, Dakar, is a little bit harder to justify because it's not in the theater of operations. However, if you're at war, merchant vessels are just as valid a target. So
yeah.
So those ones were actual missiles, huh?
Well, it sounded like it might be machine guns. I could turn the sound back on.
Oh, that's probably counterfire.
Yeah.
Burada gidiyor bak burada. Bak hemen burada gidiyor. Bak şimdi bak. Çok alçaldı.
That's a lot of fire.
Yeah, did you see that something blew up in the water there?
Hep buradan gelecek şimdi. Biz nereye kaçalım? Ben ondan diyorum abi gidin buradan. Hep buradan gelecek.
I don't know if these guys realize, but they are essentially downrange.
Yeah, they are right
in a live fire.
I don't know that I'd be out on the dock.
All right. Anyway, let's see. Something got hit right there. That's a lot of fire.
Given that, the tracer is probably every 5th or 10th round in a machine gun.
Yeah, maybe 3 in 1, 5 in 1. Anyway, this is definitely it's a problem. So this is the Novorossiysk terminal in the Black Sea. Let's see. Moscow, for its part, described the Ukrainian attacks as amounting to terrorism and further alleged the European powers are currently engaged in an intense hybrid war against Russia. So here we got this handy dandy map here. There we go. So this is the Black Sea port, this Novorossiysk, and this is an oil pipeline supported by that's a Kazakhstan-based oil pipeline. You know, not a whole lot of options here. I guess theoretically it could go down to Iran, but Iran and Russia have been, you know, a little more friendly here lately. But it's 560,000 barrels per day. You know,
that's a lot of oil.
A lot of oil. Caspian Sea, man. Yeah. Isn't the Caspian Sea the one that's no? It's the Aral Sea that's like disappearing. They said
The Ural Sea is the one that's disappearing. Yeah, that's over there.
Yeah. This one right here, Aral Sea or whatever. All right. Over in Europe, Hungary also long complained about these Ukrainian attacks on pipelines and energy infrastructure. This summer, crude flows from Russia to Hungary and Slovakia via the Druzhba pipeline suffered forced disruptions after Ukrainian drone strike crippled the transformer stations and other elements. So I mean, they're basically attempting to, you know, stop Russia's ability to make money. Yeah, every dollar they spend, they make on oil is a dollar that can't be spent on new weapons and stuff. This is not the only one. So this is off the coast of Africa. This next one, sure.
What's tough about this one is that it's only alleged to be part of the Russian shadow fleet. It did leave a Russian port, but it is Panamanian flagged and it's owned by Turkey. And she is sinking. So.
Whoa.
Pirates flag. We were going to steal this ship and somebody sank it.
Yeah, we can't. It's no good to us now. Panamanian flag and Turkish-owned oil tanker MT Mersin, allegedly to be affiliated with the Russian shadow fleet, is currently sinking off the coast of Dakar, Senegal, in Western Africa, after reportedly coming under attack overnight by several uncrewed surface vessels, in possibly the third attack in the last week by Ukrainian intelligence services against a tanker linked to Russia. You know, I mean, theoretically, if it's within the 12-mile limit of Senegal, I mean, Senegal could basically determine this to be an act of war.
I believe she is 14 miles off, but let me just verify that. Maritime, there it is. The Mersin it's thinking about telling me. Currently, come on. Dakar.
Where's Greta Thunberg when you need her?
It doesn't say. What's that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was just say, where's Greta Thunberg when you need her? You know, because of the oil that's going to be released.
Yeah, I thought that it told me it was 14 miles off the last time I checked, but it just shows that it's in Senegal.
All right. Let's see.
Your speed is 0 knots.
Well, you know, Russia may be able to free up some manpower in the near future for additional Russian military growth. Putin might soon clinch. Hold on, let me share. Keep forgetting this. Putin might soon clinch a large-scale labor migration deal with Modi. You know, Joe, I know, you know, the scourge of the road in America for the last couple of years have been the Indian truck driver. Looks like Moscow might need to be worrying about Indian truck drivers in the near future. Putin will visit India late next week to meet with Modi for their annual summit, the first time the Russian leader will travel to India since the special operation began. His last one was in December of 2021. Let's see. Let's see. Let me skip down here. Air Marshal Anil Chopra, the former Director General of the Center for Air Power Studies in New Delhi, published an intriguing piece about this in RT. He noted that both countries' representatives discussed potential collaborations on social and labor issues, contextualizing their conversation by adding that Russian plans to recruit up to 1 million foreign workers, including from India. The Russian Labor Ministry estimates that the shortfall could expand to 3.1 million workers by 2030. He makes a lot of compelling arguments about how India could help resolve this dimension in Russia's demographic problem. But what's left out is how labor migrants pose less of a security risk than Russia's traditional ones from Central Asia. So the idea there is there's no traditional problem with Indians and Russians, right? They have generally been fairly friendly over the years. Let's see. Not only is Russia getting rid of the 700,000 plus migrants, mostly Central Asians, a process of which that jump-started by the terrorist attack in the Caucasus City Hall in outer Moscow in March 2024, but the concept of state migration policy for 2026 to 2030 focuses not on increasing the population through Central Asian citizens, but strengthening control, digitization, and the task of attracting only those migrants who share the traditional spiritual and moral values of Russian society. Very interesting there, Joe.
That is very interesting, Morty. I wish a certain country would adopt something similar.
Right. And actually mean it this time. Putin spoke about the security threats posed by the migration factor in early November during a meeting of the Council on Interethnic Relations, where they discussed ways to fine-tune the state interethnic policy, updated version of which was approved by months in. It's not declared, but the innuendo that Central Asian Muslims are at greater risk of radicalization and being manipulated by foreign forces than other labor migrants, such as Indians, both Muslims and especially Hindus. Yeah, Hindus actually are literally the perfect worker for the Russians, right? They only want to marry Indian women, so they're not going to try like steal your Russian women. They're going to work, and then they're going to come home, with a handful of hard cash after 5 or 6 years of working. Just kind of like the whole Gastarbeiter process was supposed to go. The problem, Joe, with guest work programs like in Germany in the 70s, 60s, and 70s is liberal democracy feels bad for these people. And then, no, instead of leaving, why don't you bring your family over here and we'll let you settle because now you speak German or now you speak whatever language you speak. We'll settle you down and you could join our family, right? Well, that worked great when it was like 15,000 family or 15,000 people a year. Now, look at Germany, where they're at. In a country like Russia, that's basically like, welcome to Russia, work hard, go home, do not stay, do not pass go.
The Indian migration policy fits with the Russian model very well. When the Indians come into an area, they want to all live together. They want to have a closed society, and they want to go back and forth to their home country and not interact with the locals. So it actually fits Russia's model very well. Fits the Indian model very well.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see. There's a lot of Pakistanis and Indians here in Korea, and you just don't see them settling. They're not, they're here to make money. You almost always come as military-age males. Mm-hmm. They work in factories for the most part. Some are educated, some aren't, and they make money, stick around, and then go home. Because they don't want to change their culture; they just want to make money. This is what you see like in the Middle East too, like in the UAE, like all these. You got a lot of people from Pakistan and some of these other countries that come and work in the UAE. They do not stay. They are not allowed to bring their families. And when their contract is over, they leave. Because when you have an authoritarian government, you're able to kind of have that tight control on on somebody. You will carry this card. You will do everything on this card. You will digitally be tracked on this card. Oh, by the way, you will download this app on your phone. You will have this with you at all times. If you don't, then we can draft you into the army and send you to Ukraine. And that will be another thing that Russia will do. They'll offer big contracts to workers over there to come fight in the special operation.
Yeah.
I mean, a fighter is a fighter is a fighter if you're willing to take the contract. Indians are among the most Russian-friendly people in the world, as proven by credible surveys. And unlike Central Asian Muslims, they harbor no historical grievances, whether objectively existing or subjectively perceived, that could be manipulated by foreign forces to weaponize them against Russia. It therefore wouldn't be surprising if Putin clinches a large-scale labor migration deal with Modi. Yeah, Joe, I mean, I think they could easily have like 5 million Indians working in the Russian, labor pool, within a couple of years. And Indians have the education they need to be useful for the Russians. And I mean, how many American trained Indians would come back to India to go to Russia to make big money? Sharing some of your American techniques with our technology people. That's all I got for today, Joe. Anything else you want to talk about?
Negative. I think that's about it for the day. I'll point out on the question about NATO that Senegal actually is in the South Atlantic, and therefore NATO would not apply.
That's right. All right, chat. You guys are keeping it real as always. Appreciate you guys holding up your end. Joe, thank you very much for helping me on this Watcherless show today.
Watcherless show today.
I mean, what do we need him for anyway, right? I mean, but wait a second. Right. All the things he does. That's what I need him for. Because if he was here, I wouldn't have gotten distracted. Oh, hold on a second. Let me share the screen. And yes, I'm sure if you're not watching the video of this, you're just listening audio, you're probably thinking this is a hard to listen to show because the way Scott would stop talking for like 30 seconds at a time and he would mumble under his breath and things like this because, of course, I'm not smart enough to handle things without talking about them. All right. Joe, final thoughts going into the week?
Venezuela is the keyword for the week. There's too much talk for nothing to happen.
Let's be honest, Joe. Until it happens, because it's going to happen one way or another. It's going to happen. Venezuela is the key to what's going on. So, I totally agree with you there. Any domestic things that you got your eyeballs on?
Domestically, I would keep an eye on the rhetoric that's coming out about illegal orders. I find it funny. They gave this video about illegal orders, and now all of a sudden we're claiming that there's some sort of an illegal order that was given related to these boats. First of all, it wouldn't have been illegal, by the way, but hey. And I imagine that someone's about to pull a presidential finding out of their back pocket and be like, but this makes it not illegal no matter what you say. But I would watch for more rhetoric on that and more pushing things. Hold on, Gene Rogers. I was not done, so I'm going to correct that. The other thing that I like to keep an eye on all week is Djibouti.
Not Gene Rogers' booty, but the country. Come on, get your mind out of the gutter.
I don't know that.
Joe, I'm trying to help you here. I'm trying to help you. All right. It's domestically, you're right, Joe. I think there is some really seditious stuff going on. I think that I get the feeling that even Donald Trump is getting fed up and is willing to he kind of pushed the buttons on his people in order to get some action taken. So we'll see where that goes. And if it doesn't, I mean, theoretically, this could be the thing that kind of pushes us towards that civil war that nobody wants to see happen. But I mean, let's be honest, it's always a potential. All right. That's all I got for today. Thank you guys for being here. Joe, appreciate you, chat, as always. We'll be back on Wednesday, same time, same channel. If you haven't done it already, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. Let your friends know that the Council on Future Conflict is worth a watch, worth a look. And we'll keep on, no chimp. Sorry, Watcher's not here. We will be back this time, this channel on Wednesday. And until then, stay safe.